Chapter 71, Kill the Dark Knight. The best way to get subsidies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. And Yi was running away when he suddenly heard angry shouting from behind. He turned around in shock and said in a voiceless voice, "You, how did you catch up? How did I catch up? What does it have to do with you?" Su Chang'e wanted to talk to him so much and punched him directly. Boom! The powerful force exploded, and the air exploded like a roaring wave. And Yi was frightened, and hurriedly burst out his body-protecting energy, and instantly a golden light shield covered his whole body. Bang! Su Chang'e's fist penetrated directly through the mask, and all 40 million kilograms of force hit without any reservation. Ah! And Yi let out an extremely painful scream. His chest was collapsed by this punch, his ribs were broken, blood spurted out, and his liver and intestines were broken. "You, how can you be so strong? What does it have to do with you?" Bang! Su Chang'e punched out again, directly piercing Yi's chest. The blood-stained fist stretched out from Yi's back, and then pulled it back. After pulling back, Yi rolled his eyes, his face full of shock and fear, and then he collapsed to the ground with a plop, dying. Su Chang'e rummaged around on his body and quickly took out a space ring. When I opened the space ring, I saw that the space inside was extremely strange, as large as a football field, and filled with glittering wealth. Su Chang'e didn't look carefully, raised his hand and punched him. Yi, and then left here, thousands of miles of clouds. Su Chang'e rode the cloud-treading Pegasus and took Su Lianyue on the way home, took out the space ring, his face glowed red, and he smiled happily. Ha ha ha, and Yi is so rich. He recognized in Yi. His apparent identity was that he was a senior elder under Du Sihai. The storage items on his body were the same as those of ordinary people, but they were higher standard space rings. Su Chang'e opened the space ring and inspected it for a while, and soon understood Yi's net worth. There are more than 200,000 spiritual stones in total, including 100,000 pieces of the best grade, 130,000 pieces of the top grade, countless precious medicines, and dozens of yellow-level spiritual weapons. In addition, also found some refined iron in the space ring. This is a kind of rare iron ore, with golden light and gleaming brilliance. It is an indispensable material for casting spiritual weapons. Su Chang'e put away the storage ring items, and then began to look at the storage bags of the Vajra Gate. However, the storage bag of King Kong door is disappointing, except for some vulgar quality medicines found in that damn elder's storage bag. They are all excellent herbal medicines and advanced martial arts such as boxing, namely Tiger Fist, Roar Fist, Wind Fist. As for the medicinal herbs, they are all purple orchid, Pycnophila, all low-level herbs, worth a few dollars. Before, Su Chang'e might have been attracted to these things, but now, he is completely attracted to these things. Although this garbage is valuable, it is wrong to use it to subsidize the system. Su Chang'e suddenly thought of something, and immediately prepared to stuff all this garbage to Su Lianyue, but after thinking about it, it seemed a little more appropriate for me to do this, because Lianyue is a trash can. Who should I give it to? Fell into hesitation. There is so much rubbish on me that it takes up my back. It must be cleaned up quickly, leaving only the good ones. After thinking for a while, suddenly had an idea and thought of a good idea. Come on, let's go to the ground. Turn the horse's head and fly downward. Soon, the hooves of the Pegasus fell to the ground. Su Chang'e waved his hand and threw the garbage herbs on the ground casually, then, picked a few more mountains, entered the cave, and threw those martial arts into the cave. Finally, we went to a mountain and left a few yellow-level weapons there. After taking care of all this, he lifted his feet and left, continuing to return to the sect. This method is very simple. Throw the stolen items directly on the road or in a cave, and let the people pick them up. When those lucky people get it, will the system directly subsidize it on my side? This method is so trouble-free. No matter how much money those people make, you will always make money with your own blood. The cloud-stepping Pegasus was very fast and flew towards the sect. Left after about a few minutes. On the road below, a young man passed by, came to because was concerned about it, but when he saw so many herbs on the ground, his eyes suddenly lit up and he was overjoyed. Wow, you're lucky to have stepped on shit. The young man was overjoyed and quickly put away the herbs and left here satisfied. Here, Su Chang'e was flying, and in his mind, system subsidies were arriving fiercely. Bite. You gave away a purple orchid plant, a green grass plant, $1 billion subsidy effect, triggering a super critical hit. Super critical hit multiplier, 399,000 times. Congratulations to the host for getting Tianxin Snow Orchid Grass. 9 Netherlands Heart Grass. Ice Fire Grass. Sun Golden Mystic Grass, 3rd Turn Purple Golden Grass. 10,000 Year Ginseng. The series of subsidies dazzled Su Chang'e, who made him smile and feel happy. That same moment, a down-and-out young man came to the cave. All the money I had on me was spent, and I wanted to come to this place to stay, but after stepping into the cave, suddenly sensed something, and was so happy that he fell from the sky. I saw several martial arts at my feet, and they were all Vajra-Sek's fists. Although these fists are of high grade, they can still be exchanged for some money in the pawn shop. Ha ha, pie in the sky. Oh yeah, that excited, I cheered. I picked up all these fists in one go, and then left here happily. At the same time as I took all these martial arts away, in Su Chang'e's mind, the system voice sounded again. Ding! You sent out Tiger Fist and Roaring Fist. 100 million subsidy effect, triggering Super Critical Strike. Super Critical Strike multiple, 400,000 times. Congratulations to the host for obtaining Vajra Furious Fist. Powerful Vajra Fist. Buddha Lion Roar. 8 trigrams Return to Heaven Palm. Chongshu Xiaoyao Fist. The system sounded in my mind, and it subsidized dozens of weapons. The quality was far better than those I lost before. This wave of passive profit. Su Chang'e patted his forehead. I have to say that I am really a genius. Just at this time, a female monk flew on a sword and passed by the hill where the weapon was just thrown. At first, the female monk didn't care, but when she looked down inadvertently, she saw dozens of weapons on the hill emitting sharp cold light, and her cheeks suddenly lit up. Go out to meet good news. She descended from the clouds, came to the hill, and picked up the weapons. Su Chang'e's mind was shocked, and the system subsidy arrived on time. Ding! You sent out the yellow-level common weapon, the iron sword, the yellow-level common weapon, the bronze short sword. 100 million subsidy effect, triggering an overcritical strike. Times the overcritical strike multiple, 400,000 times. Congratulations to the host for obtaining, Heaven-level spiritual weapon, the Qingyao sword. Heaven-level spiritual weapon, the Yulong sword. Heaven-level spiritual weapon, the Taiye sword. Heaven-level spiritual weapon, the demon-slaying bloodthirsty sword. In just a short moment, Su Chang'e's background grew exponentially. Chapter 72 Looking at the things delivered, Qingyao couldn't believe it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 72 Looking at what was delivered, Qingyao couldn't believe it. He just glanced at these things briefly, and then continued on his way. The reason is simple. This time, there are too many treasures brought back by the system's subsidies. Let's not talk about anything else, just the weapons. Every weapon is outstanding, with a shining light, long and sharp blades, and extremely sharp. It would be too time-consuming for him to read them one by one now, so he decided to take a look at it after he got back. Call out, the Pegasus steps on the white clouds and flies swiftly in the air. Along the way, Su Lianyue held Su Chang'e's arm tightly, fearing to lose him. In fact, when the elder of the Vajra sect fought to the death just now, she was frightened because she was afraid that she would be unprepared and then the next moment, when she saw the elder's vomited blood flying away with his palm, she was relieved. Mr. Su Lianyue murmured softly, feeling extremely happy in her heart. Did his predecessor save the galaxy? He unexpectedly met a man who was so kind to him. Su Chang'e heard her calling him, turned his head, gave her a smile, and said, "Sit tight, we have to speed up." As he spoke, he lightly nodded Pegasus' head with his fingertips. The Pegasus has human nature, and its speed immediately increased several times, and it shuttled through the air as fast as the wind and lightning. Su Lianyue held Su Chang'e's arm firmly and never let go for a moment. After a while, the two successfully return to the sect. Enter the house. Su Chang'e is planning to refresh the system subsidy again. This time I want to give away spiritual stones, you know, I just got so many. Spiritual stones. If I give them away, wouldn't I become rich again? He just did what he said. He immediately opened the storage bag, gathered all the spirit stones he grabbed into one place, and then prepared to give them to Su Lianyue. Only, when he was about to hand it to Su Lianyue, he suddenly frowned. Lianer's breathing can increase his cultivation, so what's the use of spiritual stones? As we all know, spiritual stones contain a large amount of spiritual energy, which can be absorbed to increase cultivation, but Su Lianyue not only increased her cultivation by breathing, but also drank more water, and slept more. Then why do you need spiritual stones? Isn't this wasted? Su Chang'e thought for a moment and quickly made a decision. Then don't give it to Liener, but give it to the beautiful master. I'll go out for a moment and be back soon. He left a message and went to Qingyao's residence. Mr. Su Lianyue watched him go out, feeling empty and feeling like she was alone in an empty room. On the other side, Su Chang'e soon arrived in front of Qingyao door. Pushing the door open, he found that Qingyao was not there. There was no sign of her in the courtyard. Su Chang'e thought for a moment and felt that he should be in the room, and immediately sensed it, but he found that there was no aura fluctuation in the room. Obviously, she wasn't there. Where has master gone? He wondered to himself, but I don't really care. If the beautiful master is not here, then put the spirit stone here. When she comes back, she will naturally see it. There happened to be a table next to the pool where the goldfish were kept. Su Chang'e took out a large amount of spiritual stones and placed it on the table. There was no one else in Lihua Peak, so he didn't worry about being picked up by others. After doing all this, Su Chang'e raised his feet and left. As soon as he left with his front foot, Qingyao came back with his back foot. She just went to the main peak. The reason is that today Lin Wudi convened all the senior sects to discuss the ultimate reward for the martial arts tournament. As the peak leader, she naturally wanted to go. After a full day of discussion, all the senior officials unanimously suggested that whoever wins the position of saint should be rewarded with a secret skill. That secret technique is the Taishian secret technique, the immortal master's legacy. This is the supreme secret method that is not taught outside the sect. Once practiced, it will transform into the innate holy body. Lin Wudi intended to reward this secret skill to the genius who opened up 8 caves. When the senior official said this, he agreed without hesitation. During the day's discussion, Qingyao was fishing for fish the whole time, because she felt that her disciple was only going to participate, firstly, for the sake of the face of Lihua Peak, so that it would not really become a transparent peak. The second is that there are participation awards for participation. Although the participation award is not particularly good, it is enough to make the disciple happy for a while. Right now, she was thinking about this when she suddenly noticed a lot of shiny spiritual stones on the table. This is, Qingyao's heart moved and she hurried over. When I looked down, I saw that these spiritual stones were all high-grade spiritual stones with rich spiritual energy. They were crystal clear and contained no trace of impurities. Not only that, there are also a large number of top-grade spiritual stones. A rough calculation shows that the top-grade spiritual stones alone amount to 100,000. Oh my God, that she was so excited that she trembled all over. She didn't understand why a spiritual stone fell from the sky. Did you do something good and a spiritual stone fell from the sky? Suddenly, an idea flashed in her mind, and she thought of Su Chang'e. No, it should be a gift from my disciple. My disciple has given me gifts many times, so naturally this spiritual stone is also a gift from him. He must have put the spirit stone here when he saw that I was not around, waiting for me to come back to get it. Hello, my disciple. What a good disciple, that she was in high spirits, her beautiful eyes gleaming with youthfulness. She held the spirit stone in her arms. Her pretty white and crystal clear face was full of joy. In the hut, in Su Chang'e's mind, the system's 10 billion subsidy suddenly arrived. Ding! You sent 20,000 high-grade spirit stones and 10,000 top-grade spirit stones. The 10 billion subsidy is effective, triggering an overcritical strike. The second overcritical strike multiple, 49,000 times. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 980000000000 high-grade spirit stones. 4900000000 top-grade spirit stones. Because the number is so large, the zeros behind it almost dazzled Su Chang'e. He didn't look closely, because 20,010 billion times of 10 million, multiplied by 49,000 times, is undoubtedly a terrifying number. Hahaha, I have to say, this feeling of having a full waist is really good. I feel like I'm walking with the wind. Su Chang'e was very excited, his waist was full, and he had the confidence to talk and walk. Immediately, he took his attention away from the spirit stone and began to study the Pishui sword. He knocked on the sword, and there were indeed bursts of dull clang 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 sounds coming from the inside of the giant sword. This means that the inside of the Pishui sword is empty. My husband, what are you doing? Is there any secret in this sword? On the side, Su Lianyue's eyes showed doubts. She didn't think such an ordinary sword had any secrets. Lianer, there is a big secret in it. Watch it. Su Chang'e used his energy and punched the Pishui sword. Bang! The Pishui sword exploded. In an instant, a dazzling silver light appeared, and the sharp cold light rushed towards him. Chapter 73 Su Lianyue, I will live for you all my life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 73 Su Lianyue, I will live for the public this life. That when the Pishui sword exploded, Su Lianyue's pupils suddenly shrank, revealing a deep disbelief. Looking around, I saw that there was actually a sword hidden in the giant sword. The sword was 2 feet and 1 inch long, and the sword body was cast from black iron, thin and sharp, with a dazzling cold light. The hilt was a silver-white dragon carving pattern, which looked extremely majestic, and the blade was extremely sharp, like autumn frost. With a swish, Su Chang'e drew the sword out of the sheath, and the cold light of the sword blade burst out in an instant, and the air exploded. As if he was killed by a sword, he walked out and began to practice the Zhu Tian Xingdou sword that he had practiced before. He was standing under the tree, thrusting out a sword. The sword was like a silver snake dancing, breaking the wind, flying like a dragon, sweeping across the body, sometimes as light as a swallow, pointing the sword, sometimes as sudden as lightning, leaves falling, like a silver light in his hand, sweeping thousands of troops with great momentum. Wow, my husband is so powerful. Su Lianyue looked a little dazed. All she could see now was Su Chang'e, and all her mind was filled with his figure. Su Chang'e was the pillar of her life, occupying a huge part of her heart. It was her entire life. Swish! Suddenly, Su Chang'e changed from stabbing to slashing, looking at a mountain thousands of miles away from the sect, and slashed with a sword. I saw a white sword light falling like a thread, directly landing on the mountain. With a loud bang, the mountain was cut into 2 halves. Endless gravel fell with a crackling sound, splashing thick smoke. Su Lianyue's eyes suddenly shone brightly, shining brightly, and she said happily, "My husband, you are so powerful." She saw that the sword was so powerful, it should be a high-grade peerless sword. Su Chang'e smiled faintly, put away the sword and stood, calm and relaxed. He seemed calm, but in fact his heart had already been surging. Just now, he just waved the sword casually, without even a bit of strength. But with this little bit of power, combined with the Iqin sword, he directly split a mountain with one sword. This power is so powerful. I'm ashamed of this heaven-level spiritual weapon. It's so powerful. Su Chang'e was all smiles. Such a powerful sword, if it was taken away by Xuanhuan, the consequences would be imaginable. But now, I got the upper hand and intercepted it. It's really cool to snatch the opportunity from Xuanhuan. Just when Su Chang'e was happy about getting the heavenly sword, Tiantai Peak, training tower, Xuanhuan was rampaging inside, beating monsters crazily, and practicing desperately. His brother was killed, and he was looking for the murderer. He was extremely frustrated and angry, and had no choice but to vent all his anger on these monsters. Bang! Bang! Bang, 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 that the monster in the tower was hit by him, and its skull was broken and blood was dripping, but he was still not tired, and he fought hard. Suddenly, at a certain moment, his heart suddenly became empty, as if something was leaving him, which made him feel worse. Fuck you, I'll beat you to death. That he didn't know where this feeling came from, but he was even more angry, and he jumped up and down, venting all his anger on the monster. Bang, 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 that the monster was hit by his random punches, and his head was broken into pieces. Even so, Xuanhuan's anger was still subsiding. On the other side, after Su Chang'e finished testing the power of the Heaven Sword, he took Su Lianyue and walked into the house. He closed the door, put the sword into the scabbard, and then lifted Su Lianyue's fair jade hand and said, "Lianer, do you know what level of weapon this sword is?" Su Lianyue expected it, but she said it. Su Chang'e smiled faintly and said, "This is a heaven-level spiritual weapon, the Heaven Sword." What? Heaven-level spiritual weapon? Su Lianyue's heart trembled, and her eyes widened suddenly. This is actually a heaven-level spiritual weapon. No wonder the public wants to buy that giant sword. It turns out, just thinking about it, Su Chang'e suddenly said, "Lianer, this sword is for you, take it." Ah, Su Lianyue's heart jumped suddenly, and she was so intuitive that she dared not believe it. "This is a heavenly spiritual weapon, and you are going to give it to me? I am not dreaming, am I? This, sir, this sword is so precious, why don't you keep it for yourself and give it to me?" Shocked words came out of her mouth. Su Chang'e smiled, put the sword directly into her hand, and said kindly, "Lianer, you were bullied before because you didn't have a terrible self-defense weapon. If you had it, you would have split them in half immediately. I think this sword is right. If you carry it with you, you can use it to defend yourself when you encounter danger in the future. Don't say much, take it." After the words fell, Su Lianyue was moved to tears. "Your Majesty is so kind, he always leaves safely by himself. Here, you alone are enough. I will live for you this life." She was deeply moved and made up her mind. She refused again and took the sword. When her palm touched the Yiqian sword, her wrist trembled slightly. She never dared to think of such a terrifying sword before, but now your Majesty gave it to her. This kindness. I have no way to repay it. Suddenly, she had an idea and remembered something. When I met the prince before, I was at the Huang family in Tianying City. At that time, the prince subdued the young master of the Huang family. The young master of the Huang family changed his face and said something. The words at that time rang in my mind, "Brother, wait a minute. As the saying goes, we met each other by fighting. If you like this maid, I will give her to you." She clearly remembered that the young master of the Huang family said this. Thinking of this, she looked down at the Yiqian sword in her hand, and her cheeks blushed, like a red rose blooming on her face, colorful and beautiful. "No wonder the prince treats me so well, giving me a place to live, providing me with food and clothing, and always giving me treasures again and again." It turns out that she was imagining here, but Su Chang'e didn't care about her, and focused all his attention on the system. The Heaven Sword is so terrifying that even the heaven-level spiritual weapon is given away. So the system subsidy must be stronger, right? P.S. I updated very early today, at around 7 o'clock. I got up very early. If something unexpected happens tomorrow, I should still update at this time. I update steadily every day. In addition, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Xuanhuan for your support every day regardless of wind or rain. Thank you. Window_tabula equals window_tabula_tabula.push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target_type, mix. Chapter 74 Cross-Border Super Critical Strike, Big Dipper Sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Su Chang'e suddenly thought of something, and his face suddenly turned cold. When Du Sihai learns that the Dark Knight is gone forever, he will definitely take action quickly and send to kill him again. And the scent is definitely stronger than in Yi. But how can I be afraid? Su Chang'e's heart was full of pride, and he laughed loudly, his pride soaring to the sky. No matter how strong the scent by Du Sihai is, so what? The system's subsidy will arrive soon, are you still worried? As soon as this thought flashed through my mind, the system's subsidy suddenly arrived. Bite! You sent a heaven-level spiritual weapon, Yiqian sword, and tens of billions of subsidies took effect, triggering a super-critical strike. Super-critical hit multiplier, 406,500 times. Congratulations to Su for getting, Big Dipper sword. Big Dipper sword, Su Chang'e's heart moved. Intuition tells me that this sword must be extraordinary. Named after the Big Dipper, is it an ordinary sword? The next moment, the system sound sounded, Big Dipper sword, a heaven-level magic weapon. The sword is engraved with the patterns of the Big Dipper. When it is swung, it bursts out with destructive power. In ancient times, a strong man once used this sword and cut off the immortal king's neck with one sword. Come on. What? Heaven-level divine weapon, Su Chang'e's eyebrows jumped and he was overjoyed. I really didn't expect that this time I would cross a big level and get back the magic weapon as compensation. Remembers the grade of the weapon firmly. The lowest is common soldiers, followed by spiritual soldiers, then divine soldiers, holy soldiers, imperial soldiers, but now, a magic weapon is given as a gift, and the system directly compensates the magic weapon. This wave is profitable. Take a deep breath, suppress the excitement in his heart, and look at the system space. In that space that was comparable to chaos, a 3-foot-long sword was emitting bright light, with mysterious golden lines flowing, and an aura of ancient wildness attached to it, giving it a feeling of extreme sharpness and vastness. Ancient. Suddenly, on the Big Dipper sword, a ball of silver light bloomed, like a silver dragon unsheathed, noble and clear. The carvings on the sword hilt flashed deep and dazzling light like stars, and the patterns of the Big Dipper lights up one by one, complementing each other. It is integrated with the sword body, and the blade is like a cliff with thousands of walls, majestic and majestic. Noble, sharp, elegant, like a majestic sword. Ha ha ha, this wave of money is not a profit, but a huge profit. Su Chang'e looked at the sword from a distance and felt so happy that he felt numb in his heart. Cutting off Hu Han's opportunity not only suppressed Hu Han, but also gained the favor of the reincarnation of the saint once again, and obtained this super sword. It was so exciting to achieve it in one fell swoop. While he was happy, he also thought about his current battle. Originally it was 4 million kilograms, but now it is superimposed with heaven-level divine weapons, and then superimposed with the swordsmanship of all the stars. How powerful must this sword thrust be? The comprehensive actual performance has risen sharply, which is yes. Tiantai Peak. Call out. A figure in black escaped from the Soul Lamp Hall, looking panicked, and came to the meeting hall. Up, Dark Knight. What's wrong? Killed. As soon as he finished speaking, Du Sihai was startled. He jumped up from his chair and said angrily, no. An Yi is a creature that is 100 times more powerful than Sword Maniac and Sword Maniac. How could he be killed? The dead man couldn't believe it in his heart, and said in a deep voice, go up, the soul lamp is out, and Yi is definitely dead. Du Sihai jumped up in anger and slapped the table. The steel table fell apart on the spot and exploded into a sky full of iron powder. Evil! Evil! What's going on with this bastard? Why are the people he sent dying one after another? What's going on? Du Sihai was furious. Before Hu Kang's death, Hu Han came to see him crying every day, asking him to find out the murderer, but he couldn't find out the murder, so he couldn't give Hu Han an explanation. Hu Han was dissatisfied and left angrily. The disciple's biological brother was killed, and this master couldn't even find out the murderer. How ashamed of the disciple. Sir, in my humble opinion, Qingyao should reward that son with some life-saving protective treasures, such as hidden weapons and the like, so that he can kill unexpectedly. Why don't we send a physically powerful dead soldier there? No matter how good you are at using hidden weapons, you can't break through Kill's defense. The dead man suggested at this time. Du Sihai thought for a moment and felt that this made sense. Then Su Chang'e had no cultivation, so he could only use hidden weapons. And Qingyao wants to participate in the martial arts competition no matter what, so he should have prepared many hidden weapons for. No wonder. Du Sihai suddenly understood a lot. Suddenly, his heart moved and he asked the dead man, "Have you forgotten the law enforcement hall?" "There is a law enforcement hall, how are we going to do it this time?" That the dead man showed a sinister smile and said confidently, "Sir, money can communicate with ghosts and gods. If you give her a large sum of money, it should be solved." That the person in charge of the law enforcement hall is an old woman named Binglao, who loves treasures and money most. Du Sihai's eyes lit up and he said, "Okay, I'll do as you say." Here, that not long after, Tian Tai Peak sent a senior executive to the law enforcement hall and delivered a huge gold treasure box. Soon, the law enforcement hall also sent a senior executive to Tian Tai Peak. The senior executive came to Du Sihai and said with a low laugh, "We have received Du Feng's kindness. From now on, the back door of the law enforcement hall will be open to you." Du Sihai clasped his fists and said, "Thank you very much, Du." That the senior executives of the law enforcement hall left. After leaving, Du Sihai waved to the side. A burly man came out. He was 2 meters tall, strong, with huge muscles and chest muscles like a mountain. This man was called Shi Lei. He was a strange man that Du Sihai met and found when he was traveling. He had the blood of a giant stone. Once he got angry, his flesh and blood would turn into hard stones, and his physical strength was extremely strong. "Raise 1,000 soldiers and use them for a moment. This time you go." Du Sihai said viciously. "Yes." Shi Lei stepped through the sky and left. Chapter 75 Killing Shi Lei with one sword, cutting bones like paper. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Night, silence. A crescent moon hangs high in the sky, emitting pale moonlight and revealing sadness. In the air, there is a vague solemn atmosphere, which seems to imply that this is a very night. Lihua Peak, in the hut, Su Chang'e looked at the Big Dipper sword in his hand, and he felt happy. The Yiqian sword has already cut the mountain peaks like cutting mud, so this Big Dipper sword must be more terrifying. Buzz. At this moment, the air fluctuated, and 10 burly figures emerged, standing in the void. Their eyes swept across Lihua Peak, and a trace of pity flashed in their eyes. They are not bystanders, but members of the law enforcement hall. Bingyu has given them orders. If something happens, they can suppress it if they can, and they are allowed to report it. Anyone who dares to report it will die. After a while, the people from the law enforcement hall left one after another to patrol other places, and the next moment after they left, a tall figure came from Tian Tai Peak, broke through the sky, and ran in the darkness. Along the way, the air was trampled into a cyclone visible to the naked eye, rumbling. In a moment, Shi Lei stepped on Lihua Peak. He was very smart. He did not break in from the front mountain of Lihua Peak, but climbed up from the cliff of the back mountain, groping in the dark, and soon arrived at Su Chang'e's residence. In this way, he successfully avoided Yi Qingyao's yard. Yi Qingyao's residence is the most conspicuous place in Lihua Peak, and it is also the place closest to other peaks. As for Su Chang'e, it is not far from Qingtan in the back mountain. Shi Lei climbed all the way up, came here, and said, "Open." Suddenly, his skin suddenly changed color and turned gray. His skin was like stone, and the biceps on it were huge, and his whole body suddenly grew 2 meters taller, looking like a giant. The blood of the giant stone burst out. At this moment, his whole body changed, like a man made of stone, tall and strong, and extremely majestic. He came directly to Su Chang'e's door and kicked it. Bang! With a loud bang, the door exploded and shattered. Su Lianyue was sleeping, and suddenly heard the explosion. Her face changed, and when she saw a tall and majestic figure coming in the dark, she hurriedly looked at Su Chang'e beside her. This tall figure was much higher than her cultivation. "Boy, the master wants your life, go to hell." Shi Lei punched out. The fist was as strong as a dragon, and a rolling hurricane exploded, blasting towards Su Chang'e. Sensing the power of this punch, Su Chang'e's face changed, and he hurriedly punched it. Bang, bang, bang. Instantly, the two fists collided, and a blast was heard in the air, instantly stirring up a layer of wind and waves, and the floor under his feet exploded on the spot, shattered by the powerful force. Puff! After one move, Shi Lei spit out a mouthful of blood, crashed through the window directly, and flew out. His fist and his entire arm were shattered, bloody and blurred, revealing their original appearance. Shi Lei suddenly understood something, his pupils contracted violently, and he said in surprise, how come your body is stronger than mine? But his words ended there. Su Chang'e had already emerged from behind him, and the Big Dipper sword in his hand had been unsheathed and placed on his neck. Poochie, that the Big Dipper sword was extremely sharp. With just a slight swing, it instantly cut his neck. Shi Lei's neck made a crackling sound. The layers of bones cut by the sword exploded, and the bones splashed, mixed with blood. His neck was cut off and blood flowed. It was just a moment. Shi Lei's head was cut off, and his body became a headless corpse. It twitched twice and then moved. The Big Dipper sword cut bones like paper. Young master. Su Lianyue smiled like a flower. You are so powerful. Su Chang'e put away the sword and fumbled on his body for a while, but in the end he didn't touch anything. Shi Lei had nothing on him. Seeing this, Su Chang'e didn't care. Immediately, he punched Shi Lei to pieces, and then immediately began to absorb the spirit stone, ready to kill back. What did you say? Shi Lei's soul lamp is also extinguished. The Tiantai Peak. Du Hai looked at the assassin in front of him with a solemn face. The news has been passed back. Yes, it's too brutal. The assassin trembled slightly. Du Hai's face was very solemn, he clenched his fists, and his joints crackled. After a while, he shouted to the side, Long Yi, you must come out. Buzz. Ripples appeared in the space, and a figure wearing bronze armor emerged, bursting out with amazing momentum, and the armor rustled. Long Yi, the most famous assassin under Du Hai, once single-handedly destroyed a weak sect. Yes. Ripples appeared in the space, and Long Yi walked in, merged with the space, and disappeared. $window, _tabula equals window, _tabula, _tabula. Push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 76 Crazy Breakthrough. Entering the We'll-See Realm. Killing Long Yi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lihua Peak, cabin. Boom. 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 There were sounds of breakthroughs, driven by hundreds of millions of spiritual stones. Su Chang'e's cultivation skyrocketed, breaking through his own limits in an instant. The realm of heaven is broken. We'll-See Realm. The first level of We'll-See Realm. The second level of We'll-See Realm. The fourth level of the We'll-See Realm. The sixth level of the We'll-See Realm. The eighth level of the We'll-See Realm. We'll-See Realm Chongshan. The higher your cultivation level goes, the more spiritual stones you need. 300 million spiritual stones pushed Su Chang'e's cultivation straight to the level of the We'll-See Realm. At this moment, Su Chang'e could clearly feel the huge force rolling in his body, as powerful as the waves, extremely filling and as calm as. As he broke through the level, his physical strength also broke through the limit, skyrocketing to a terrifying million. Crack. Su Chang'e pinched his neck, and his joint suddenly made a crisp sound. He was about to continue absorbing it, but at this moment, Su Lianyue beside him sensed something and said, Sir, it seems that is here again. Su Chang'e glanced outside and sneered, everyone is more anxious to reincarnate than the other. He left directly. As soon as I opened the door, I immediately saw ripples in the space in front of me. Like ripples on the water. The next moment, a figure wearing heavy bronze armor appeared, holding a halberd in his hand, the tip of the halberd glowing with a dazzling cold light. As soon as he saw Su Chang'e, he immediately looked like he was seeing Qingyao and growled, little brat, take a halberd. The halberd erupted with a scarlet cold light, stirred up a hurricane, and stabbed Su Chang'e fiercely. Su Chang'e's expression remained unchanged, but with a thought in his heart. The Big Dipper sword suddenly appeared in his hand. He raised his arm and slashed forward to meet the attack. Crack. Stab la la, that the two weapons struck together fiercely, and dazzling gold and iron sparks suddenly flew out in all directions. You kid, that's not right. Long Yi was startled. The moment the halberd pierced the sword, he expected to be able to pierce it like a beast, but he didn't expect that the opponent's body was full of power, very calm and heavy, giving him a feeling of perseverance, and this sword was extremely powerful. He couldn't shake the horror at all. How did he know that this heaven-level magic weapon? Stab it! Su Chang'e used the star fighting sword technique and slashed with one sword, hitting the halberd hard. One sword. Just one sword. The halberd suddenly made a piercing sound of gold and iron breaking, and sparks flew everywhere. When one met him, he was cut into two pieces by. What? Long Yi was shocked, expecting something, and exclaimed, You guy, you are so secretive. You knew it was too late. Su Chang'e used Taichu's shadow ghost step, and his figure appeared directly behind him, and then slashed with his sword. Aha! The sword light slashed through, a head flew up, blood rained all over the sky, then, Long Yi's body fell heavily to the ground, making no sound. After killing him, Su Chang'e quickly groped for a while on his body. This time he successfully searched for a space ring, and then punched him to death, destroying his body and destroying all traces. He didn't know this Long Yi, never seen it before, but he vaguely guessed where Du Sihai had found the stranger. Immediately, he washed away the scene, then returned to the house and started practicing quickly. Almost at the same time as Long Yi's death, Du Sihai learned the news. He was standing in the Soul Lantern Hall at this time. This is to get the news as soon as possible. When he saw that Long Yi's soul lamp was extinguished immediately before he could reach it, his mouth opened wide and he was stunned. What? Long Yi is so tyrannical, how could he fall? Du Sihai screamed in shock, unbelievable, incredible, I simply can't believe this is true. You know how powerful Long Yi is, how can he easily kill a little transparent person with no cultivation? But he fell. It's incredible, it's really incredible. Why are all the people sent by died one after another? Could it be that some strong person around that kid can't protect him? Du Sihai's angry roar echoed throughout the Soul Lantern Palace. Next to him, a dead soldier said in a deep voice, Shang, I have said before that Lihua Peak does not seem to be as useless as it appears. There should be real masters hiding in it, crouching tiger, hidden dragon. According to the inference of my subordinates, all the people we sent during this period should have been killed by the hidden master. Otherwise, how many lives would have been lost based on that kid alone? Du Sihai was in an irritable mood. He felt that there was a lot of anger in his chest and he couldn't spit it out. If you keep this anger for a long time, it may turn into inner demons and affect your future practice. He shouted angrily, Then what do you think we should do? The dead man fell into silence, helpless. For updates late at night, a black cloud floated in, covering the moonlight, and everything became invisible. At Lihua Peak, the fallen leaves rustled automatically without wind. A black shadow was like a dragonfly touching the water. Wherever it passed, trees swayed and leaves flew. If you look closely, you will find that wherever this shadow passes, all the fallen leaves are cut by the sharp sword intent, flying like snowflakes, and even the ground is cut by a sword mark that is not higher than the knee. This shadow wears a bamboo hat, with only a pair of eyes exposed outside. He sneaks in silently with agility. Long Air, the twin brother of Long Yi, sensing that his brother was killed, he was furious and immediately killed him spontaneously, in the hut. Boom! 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 In the silent night, the dull sound of breakthroughs continued to explode, and the shackles were broken one after another. Then, a strong breath was released, sweeping in all directions. Su Chang'e absorbed the spirit stones crazily, and his cultivation level soared. He soon broke through his own limit and entered a new realm. Yuanfu Realm. After the Will See Realm, there is the Yuanfu Realm. Boom! The first level of the Yuanfu Realm. The third level of the Yuanfu Realm. The fourth level of the Yuanfu Realm. The seventh level of the Yuanfu Realm. The eighth level of the Yuanfu Realm. The fifth level of the Yuanfu Realm. Under the impetus of hundreds of millions of spirit stones, Su Chang'e's cultivation once again broke through a great realm and reached the 5th level of the Yuanfu Realm. He felt the power in his body surge, which was hundreds of times more terrifying than the Wheel Sea realm just now, and the power was more stable, like the unfathomable deep sea. Boom! He suddenly punched, and the air shook, as if struck by thunder, and a sharp roar was heard. This punch was enough to have 6 million forces. Su Chang'e exhaled a breath of foul air, and a shocking momentum burst out from his body. The air around him was instantly rustled by the impact, like a stone thrown into the water, causing ripples on the surface. P.S. Thank you, Fei Yan, for your support every day regardless of rain or shine. Thank you. Window_tabula equals window_tabula .push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 77, Killing Yuanfu Realm with One Palm Strike. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this world, all cultivators lack spirit stones the most, but Su Chang'e lacks them the most. As long as he gives away a little spirit stone, he will get a lot of spirit stones. Therefore, after his cultivation broke through the Yuanfu realm, his cultivation was still soaring and never stopped. Boom! Billions of spirit stones are gone again. If other people knew that he absorbed hundreds of millions of spirit stones at a time, they would be shocked to the ground. Others' monthly salary is at most 10,000, but he absorbed hundreds of millions at a time. There is no comparison at all. Breakthrough. Crazy breakthrough. Yuanfu Realm, broken. Daogong Realm 1st level. Daogong Realm 3rd level. Daogong Realm 4th level. Daogong Realm 7th level. Daogong Realm 9th level. As his cultivation level soared, his strength soared to a terrifying 80,000 jin. Su Chang'e felt that he was full of energy, his face flushed, and he shouted, "Awesome!" At this moment, he suddenly sensed a breath approaching, as if a beast in the dark night showed its fangs. For a Dao Palace realm expert, not only did his strength soar, but his perception also soared. It was very easy to sense the enemy's attack. Su Chang'e felt like he was wearing a night vision goggles at this moment. Although long air concealed his own breath and lurked in quietly, he could not escape his perception at all. Shua, he moved and appeared directly in the shadow behind the hut. Looking up, there was a black shadow lurking in the trees in the distance. The black shadow was not burly, but very short, but very refined. At a glance, it was known that he was a well-trained killer. This. Long Air stared at the hut from a distance, and was about to rush in, but at a certain moment he felt a strong wind blowing in front of him. Before he could come to his senses, he found a sword on his neck. "Are you a high-level Yuanfu?" Su Chang'e emerged from his shadow, with a sneer on his face. Long Air was shocked. What happened? Why did the other party come out? Has his whereabouts been discovered? His brain was working rapidly, and suddenly his toes moved, and a hidden arrow shot out from his boots and hit Su Chang'e's face. Bang! Su Chang'e smashed the hidden arrow with a punch. Do you know what it means to break all laws with one force? You still want to kill me with such a trick? Su Chang'e sneered. How dare you? You're in trouble. Long Air was a vegetarian. That was just a feint. While Su Chang'e was blasting the hidden arrow, he had already broken free from the sword on his neck. With a swoosh, he distanced himself from Su Chang'e. A full 10 meters away, he felt very safe at this distance. Shua! Long Air drew out a short knife from his hand, which was shining with a sharp cold light. This was a short knife specially used for assassination. The blade was extremely sharp. It was clearly a dark night that could be seen, but because of this short knife, the surroundings were illuminated. Long Air's face was pale, like a ghost. Take the knife! He shouted loudly, and his body moved like a black shadow, flashing directly over, and the sharp blade was directly against Su Chang'e's vital point. Su Chang'e raised his hand and slapped him. His physical strength instantly caused a hurricane that swept across the four directions in an instant. There was a crackling sound in the space, like thunder and roaring, and this palm hit Long Air's face straight. Puff! Long Air spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot, as if he was hit by a mountain in the face. His nose bridge collapsed directly, and one of his eyeballs was blown off. His face was bloody and miserable, the short knife was slapped by a palm and sparks flew everywhere, and it exploded into a ball of iron powder. He looked at Su Chang'e in shock, and a fear arose in his heart. He said in horror, You are not a small transparent, you are, Gao. Bang! Su Chang'e raised his hand and slapped him again. This palm strike did not hold back at all, and all the 800 million gene of power exploded out. Crack! Long Air took this palm strike firmly, his head turned countless circles in an instant, his neck made a crackling sound of bone dislocation, and his head fell off his neck, and he died on the spot. Su Chang'e fumbled around his body for a while, successfully found the storage bag, and then punched him to death, calling out, Lianyue, come out and wash the floor. That he still had something to do, so the job of washing the floor was left to Su Lianyue. Su Lianyue came out of the house after hearing the sound, and looked at Su Chang'e with eyes full of admiration. She went to Qingtan to get some water and began to wash the ground. Su Chang'e went back into the hut and practiced quickly, Tai. Peak, soul lamp hull. Du Sihai stared at the soul lamp here with his eyes, guarding against any changes. Suddenly, with a swish, a lamp in front of him went out directly in front of him. It was as if it was blown out by a gust of wind, without mercy, clean and neat. That was Long Air. What? Fuck you! Du Sihai's face changed and he jumped up instantly. The angry roar instantly attracted a group of black dead soldiers. These dead soldiers were all wearing bronze armor, and their bodies were swept by amazing momentum fluctuations. Master, the facts have verified your conjecture. There are definitely crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the Pear Blossom Peak. Even the killers like Long E and Long Air, who have been trained since childhood, fell one after another when they stepped in. That a dead soldier said in a deep voice. Even if Du Sihai didn't believe it at this time, he finally believed it and said, Great. Great. Why is Yi Qingyao so confident? It turns out that we have all misjudged Lihua Peak. Lihua Peak is really a place with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. It is a very tough and ruthless place. That he was furious, with nowhere to vent his anger. With a bang, he smashed the table to pieces. Chapter 78, Another Breakthrough in Cultivation. Entering the Void Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the house. The silent night was silent, with only the sound of a breakthrough ringing out. Boom. 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 The continuous explosions were like thunder, shaking the mind. Su Chang'e's cultivation level was growing like mushrooms after rain, and the shackles of cultivation in his body collapsed and were forcibly broken under the impact of the powerful spiritual power of hundreds of millions of spirit stones. His cultivation level entered a new realm again. The Void Realm. After the Tao Palace Realm, there is the Void Realm. This realm is enough to move and fill the sea, so powerful. Many cultivators have exhausted their efforts, and because of their talents and qualifications, they can't reach this level at all. But Su Chang'e is an immaculate body with infinite potential, and the upper limit is almost unlimited, and he soon reached this level. Boom. Breakthrough. The first level of the Void Realm. The third level of the Void Realm. The fifth level of the Void Realm. The seventh level of the Void Realm. The ninth level of the Void Realm. After breaking through to this step, Su Chang'e slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air, and felt his ears and eyes clear, and a little wisdom overflowed from his eyebrows. The whole person was full of energy and radiant. Boom. A wave of invisible air exploded rapidly with me as the center, and a circle of dust was blasted out around me. The strength has increased by another 2 million gene. That I clenched my fist lightly, feeling the surging power in my body, and I was overjoyed. The Void Realm is undoubtedly terrifying. directly increasing my physical strength from 8 million gene to 10 million gene. Such a terrifying power is not to be covered. With one punch, I am afraid that even you will be smashed to pieces and collapsed. You know, ordinary cultivators at this level only have a strength of about 1 million gene, far from 10 million gene. Su Chang'e possessed blood-red true qi, which was amplified 8 times, and his body was holy. With the layers of power, his physical strength alone was already beyond that of ordinary cultivators, crushing them. This was not to mention weapons and skills. If it was paired with the dragon-slaying sword or the Big Dipper sword, and the swordsmanship subsidized by the system, killing ordinary cave realm cultivators would be like playing. Immediately, he suppressed his breath and prepared to go out to see if Su Lianyue had finished washing. Swish, at this moment, a figure escaped from Tiantai Peak. Su Chang'e's eyes condensed. Soon, the man came closer, and when he saw that there was a third person on Lihua Peak, his face changed significantly. Looking at Su Chang'e, he said in a veiled tone, "Oh, it turns out that there are not 2 people on Lihua Peak, there is also a maid." Su Chang'e looked closely and saw that the person was actually Sikong Tu. I vaguely remember that I had intercepted the reincarnation opportunity of the saint before. What are you doing now? Could it be that Du Sihai sent you? Why, I went out to get a maid. Is this a very common thing? Su Chang'e said coldly. Sikong Tu shook his head and said, "I'm just curious. There are women who are willing to follow you, a transparent person with no cultivation. I really understand. You are not allowed to blaspheme the young master." Su Lianyue had washed up earlier. When she heard someone mocking the young master, she immediately raised her eyebrows and angrily refuted. Somehow, when Su Chang'e heard Su Lianyue refutate Sikong Tu, he suddenly felt very happy. Su Lianyue was Sikong Tu's opportunity, but he intercepted her, which was equivalent to robbing someone else's woman, but this robbed woman now went over to scold Sikong Tu, which was, really cool. When was about to speak, Su Lianyue shouted angrily, "I just love to follow you, what's your business?" As she spoke, she quickly walked behind Su Chang'e, pulled the corner of S clothes, and lowered her head shyly. Sikong Tu sneered and ignored her, saying, "It's not transparent. I came here today for other reasons. I just heard that you had an appointment with Huang Jiulong and Wang Wei. It's really funny. Have you forgotten that you have no cultivation? When the competition comes, you will be beaten to death by them with one punch. So I'm very curious, where do you get the confidence to agree to them? It really surprised me." Sikong Tu continued, "Also, such a beautiful maid follows you, are you afraid that you will die and she will be abducted by Huang Jiulong? You are still too arrogant. Don't think that you can do whatever you want with a master protecting you. Huang Jiulong and others have already entered the realm of the divine palace. They are not as strong as you think." Su Chang'e listened to it and interrupted it brazenly, saying, "If you have anything to say, let it out. Window_tabula equals window_tabula_tabula. Mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target_type, mix. Chapter 79. You don't have to go, I'm here to kill you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 79. You guys are gone, I'm here to kill you. You are really arrogant. Sikong Tu's face turned cold, and he said in a cold voice, "Stop talking nonsense. Since you have challenged them, why don't you challenge me too? I also want to get involved." Su Chang'e thought about it and said directly, "Okay. I agree to your challenge. Don't rush to agree, I haven't finished yet." Sikong Tu smiled lightly and said indifferently, "When that time comes, I hope you can completely recognize yourself. A little transparent person who can't practice dares to agree to a god. The challenge of the strong man in the palace realm is really a test of the sky. Do you know what my cultivation level is?" Su Chang'e smiled and said, "You are so embarrassed. My cultivation level is too low and I can't sense it." Sikong Tu smiled indifferently and said, "I am a peak strong man in the palace realm. I am only one step away from entering the next realm. The contrast between you and me is like the contrast between heaven and earth. Well, I have said enough nonsense. I hope that when the time comes, you will not beg me for mercy on the stage, because I will reject you harshly. After that, he smiled at the sky and flew away on his sword. Su Chang'e sneered at his back and said, when the competition comes, don't beg me for mercy, because I will also reject you harshly. That the peak of the palace realm, is it very strong? Now he knows how many realms he has surpassed the palace realm. Immediately, he put on a mask, held 2 swords in his hands, and headed towards Tiantai Peak. Tiantai Peak, Du Hai became more and more angry as he thought about it. He really swallowed his breath, scanned the whole scene, and shouted angrily, let Gu Lang, Jie Mie, and Duan Lang come out quickly. As soon as the voice fell, immediately, a dead man came forward and said in a trembling voice, Master, the 3 of them are now in the stage of mastering their magic skills. They should not be disturbed. If they come out rashly, they may escape the devil. Gu Lang, Jie Mie, and Duan Lang have practiced a kind of magic skill called Killing Cage. This is a terrifying imprisonment secret technique. Once it is performed, a visible transparent cage will appear in the void, which can instantly trap a group of monks in the cage. After that, the cage will continue to shrink and squeeze the trapped monks alive. Because this secret technique is too terrifying, it requires 3 people to perform it together. But at the same time, the power will be tripled. Du Hai was wiped out by hatred and said angrily, why, my words are effective, yes. Plop. Suddenly, a leader of the dead soldiers came forward, knelt down with a plop, and said, Master, is he a master? I don't believe he can be that high. Please let your subordinates go. If your subordinates take his head, I am willing to bring it to see you. This dead soldier is not an ordinary dead soldier, but a leader of an entire team of dead soldiers. He is tall, with a tough face like a mountain, and a wide chin, which gives people a very tough feeling. Du Hai has many death warriors under his command, divided into many teams, each led by a number of commanders. You. Du Hai glanced at him and said angrily, are you afraid of death? I am not afraid. The leader of the death warriors said firmly, as a commander, if I kill him, I will be the commander. What a good one. You use it, let's see who will kill whom today. Suddenly, a young voice came out of the hall. Du Hai and many death warriors were startled, and they turned their heads immediately. They saw a figure in white holding 2 swords, walking towards them. In addition, thank you for your rewards yesterday. I saw a reader rewarded 50 yuan in the background. Thank you for your support. Thanks. Window_tabula equals window_tabula_tabula.push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target_type, mix. Chapter 80, with the chief in the left hand and Youjun in the right hand, they start killing people. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A soldier was shocked, his heart beat out of his throat. He couldn't sense the breath of the white-clothed figure, and his spiritual sense was like a drop in the ocean. He knew clearly that he couldn't sense the cultivation level, which meant that the other party's cultivation level was far higher than his. Hiss. He actually took the initiative to kill me. Hiss. How dare he? Suddenly, a series of exclamations broke out at the scene, all the soldiers were stunned, the other party actually came to kill him alone. This guy, is he so awesome? Du Sihai's gloomy eyes rolled with murderous intent like a surging sea. The other party actually came without fighting. Is he going to slap him, the master of a peak, in the face? Who are you? Why are you protecting that kid? Angry words burst out from his mouth. Unexpectedly, Su Chang'e didn't even bother to pay any attention to him. Under the mask, his face turned away and looked at the leader of the death squad just now, saying coldly, since you're looking for death, I will grant you your wish. He attacked directly. He held the sword in his left hand and the sword in his right hand, and his movements were as fast as thunder. Swish, the air was cut and vibrated, and terrifying ripples appeared. Ha ha ha, you come to kill me, which makes it easier for me, that the leader of the death squad laughed loudly and took out a black iron heavy sword to fight against him. Gotcha, Su Chang'e cut the heavy sword fiercely with a knife, and the heavy sword broke immediately, sparks flew everywhere, and it was directly divided into two halves. And then, without waiting for the leader of the death squad to respond, the sword in his right hand broke through the air and slashed on the neck of the leader of the death squad with lightning speed. The leader of the death squad felt a chill on his neck, followed by a heat, and an indescribable pain came. His head flew up and blood spurted out. Bang! His headless body fell heavily to the ground, dead. One breath. Not one breath. The leader of the death squad was beheaded. Wow! There was an uproar all around. Everyone was stunned, staring at Su Chang'e in a daze, feeling deeply shocked and terrified. Oh, is this man a professional killer? How can he be so agile? Who are you? Answer me. Du Sihai stared at the mask on Su Chang'e's face, furious. You don't need to know who is. You only need to know that provoking is equivalent to starting your nightmare. Shua, Su Chang'e slashed with his knife again, and the head of another death warrior leader flew up. The head still retained consciousness before death, and there was endless horror in the pupils. It was not until the head hit the ground heavily that he realized that he had been beheaded. Hiss! Everyone was horrified and hurriedly retreated backwards to keep a safe distance. Du Sihai was shocked and angry. The other party actually killed people in front of him and on his territory. How unreasonable. But this person could kill his death warrior leader in seconds with just one encounter. Needless to say, he is a master. It seems that Lihua Peak is really a crouching tiger and hidden dragon. Su Chang'e was very happy and laughed. Strange old man, don't you want to kill Su Chang'e? If you have the guts, continue to send people now. That while speaking, he did not move to kill Du Sihai. When he came just now, he found that with his own cultivation, he could not sense Du Sihai's cultivation. The reason is obvious. However, how could he be afraid? It's a psychological warfare. Puff! With a wave of the beheading knife, another dead man's head flew up, blood splashed on Du Sihai's face. Seeing this scene, Du Sihai was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Feeling the anger in his 5 internal organs, it was getting stronger and stronger, and it was getting more and more intense. He wished he could rush over and kill this person right now. But he didn't dare to move rashly. The other party must have a very strong cultivation base to be able to kill him alone. Otherwise, he would never be so arrogant. Don't dare to gamble, can't gamble. Once you lose the bet, the consequence is your own life. Puff! Another head flew high, blood spilled all over the Soul Lamp Hall, and then, the Soul Lamp Hall's soul lamp went out in large areas. This means that someone is madly slaughtering the people of Taifeng. It is these dead warriors in front of them. These dead warriors have extremely strong cultivation, but in front of Su Chang'e, whose cultivation has skyrocketed, they can't even resist a little. Soon, the ground was splattered with blood, and human heads rolled down like worthless ants. Everywhere, Su Chang'e laughed and slaughtered happily. At the end of the killing, his clothes were stained with blood, and he almost became a bloody man. This massacre made him extremely happy. This is the feeling of crazy revenge. In a blink of an eye, the dead warriors at the scene fell one after another, fell in a pool of blood, and there was no life. Crack! Du Sihai finally couldn't help it, clenched his fist, waved his hand fiercely, and sent a voice to the law enforcement hall. He was calling for external help. A gleam of light flashed in Su Chang'e's eyes. As expected, the law enforcement hall had been bribed by Du Sihai. As the voice was sent out, in just a moment, dozens of powerful figures came and stepped into the field. The strong pressure spread in all directions in an instant, and the air exploded like thunder. The oppressive space was broken. What a villain, daring to slaughter the people of Taifeng crazily. Leave your life here. The leader was Binggu. As she spoke, she waved her hand, and a terrifying coercion fell, like the might of Xuanhuan, which seemed to be able to suppress all things and sweep across all directions. The terrifying coercion instantly suppressed Su Chang'e. Du Sihai's heart was shocked and he said in a loud voice, "Master Bingfeng, your cultivation level is actually stronger than that." He thought he was strong enough, but he didn't expect that the law enforcement hall would be so terrifying when he took action. Just feeling the pressure made him breathless. It is indeed the law enforcement palace. However, Su Chang'e laughed loudly, "Ha ha ha. How can you be afraid?" He violently moved the Taichu shadow ghost step, and his figure appeared directly in the shadow of the gate, and then left calmly. Only a chic-backed figure is left. Far away, Du Sihai, Bingnu and others all heard a cheerful shout, "Want to stay? I'm sorry, I can come when I want and leave when I want." "You can't stay if you want to." A flash of shock flashed in Bing woman's eyes. How could someone leave her hand calmly? This is a difficult master. She understood in an instant. Evil. Du Sihai's eyes burned with anger and he gritted his teeth and said, "Damn it, I didn't expect the law enforcement hall to come, but it's useless." Bing woman's eyes turned cold and she said angrily, "This person is extremely tyrannical and should be an unparalleled master. We have already alerted the enemy tonight. In the future, Lihua Peak should be more cautious. If you want to assassinate, you'd better not attack Su Chang'e. Change the target and attack Yi Qingyao." Du Sihai nodded, feeling it made sense. This person wears a mask and white clothes, and is dressed similarly to Su Chang'e. He should be a close friend of Su Chang'e's that he met by chance in the outside world. If you want to continue killing him, I'm afraid it won't be as easy as before. But Yi Qingyao was left alone. Okay. Now mobilize the manpower to kill Yi Qingyao. Du Sihai sent out a message, and soon, undercurrents surged in the Taifeng Peak, heading towards 3 secret forbidden areas. Those 3 forbidden areas are exactly where Lone Wolf, Nye Mie, and Duan Lang retreat.